In other news, the ministerial committee set up to study options for the Oxley Road house is not bent on preventing its demolition. Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chee Hean said this in a statement this evening, adding that the Prime Minister's brother, Lee Hsien Yang, may have such a misconception, but it is not true. He added that the government is calmly and objectively examining a range of options. This comes amid an ongoing public dispute between Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and his siblings over the fate of their father, Lee Kuan Yew's home. Mr. Teo said he had met Mr. Lee Hsien Yang several times between April and July 2015 after the late Mr. Lee's death. This was to assure him that the cabinet will take seriously the late Mr. Lee's wishes regarding the house at a time when the decision has to be made. Mr. Teo also informed Mr. Lee Hsien Yang that no decision is needed now. That's because Dr. Lee Wei Ling is living there, and a decision made by the current government cannot bind a future government. Mr. Teo said the committee was set up to present a range of possible options to the cabinet, which will only decide on which option to choose when the time comes for a decision to be made. So, for example, if Dr. Lee stops living in the house next month, then cabinet will have to decide next month. But if she lives there for 30 more years, then the government in place in 30 years will have to decide. Now, Mr. Teo said the committee had written to Mr. Lee Hsien Yang and Dr. Lee to clarify that it would list the various options and study their implications. He said, and I quote, "By way of illustration, we highlighted that converting the house to a park would require studying the implications on the area, including for planning and zoning." He said he had shared his personal views verbally on some of the options with Mr. Lee Hsien Yang, and these include tearing down the house, but keeping the basement dining room with a heritage centre attached. Mr. Teo said his aim was to let Mr. Lee Hsien Yang know that the government was not bent on retaining the house, as Mr. Lee seems to believe. Early on Tuesday, Mr. Lee Hsien Yang posted on Facebook saying they had never asked the government to allow them to demolish the house now, but only after Dr. Lee's departure. Mr. Lee Hsien Yang also said he had offered to have a memorial garden built after the house is demolished. Responding to this, Mr. Teo said he does not recall whether it was Mr. Lee Hsien Yang or he himself who had suggested a memorial park. But Mr. Teo said Mr. Lee is mistaken that he had expressed reluctance. Mr. Teo said he personally did not support the options on the extreme ends of the range, and these are preserving the house as it is or demolishing it to redevelop it for new private homes. Mr. Teo said there are a range of viable intermediate options and that Mr. Lee Hsien Yang seems supportive of some of these. Mr. Teo said that from Mr. Lee Hsien Yang's Facebook post, he agrees there is no need for a decision on the house now. So Mr. Teo said there should be no need to disagree on studying the options for the time when a decision needs to be made.